Now, a conversation about Missouri's apprenticeship mission. With us now is Kara Corches. She's Director of Legislative Affairs for the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Kara, good morning. Nice to have you.
Good morning, Steve. Thanks for having me on today.
You know, how important at the end of the day are apprenticeships here in Missouri?
They are very important. As we look to recover fully from the pandemic and its effects on our economy, we need to utilize apprenticeships as much as possible to reskill our workers to fill the jobs of both today and tomorrow.
How did we manage, the state of Missouri, to emerge as one of the apprenticeship hotbeds in the entire country?
Well, I think you can probably attest to this, Steve, but I don't think I've ever heard Governor Parsons speak without mentioning infrastructure and workforce
That's
development.
true. That's true.
And so under Governor Parsons' administration, the Department of Higher Ed and Workforce Development has really led this concerted effort to expand apprenticeship in Missouri. And clearly they've done a great job. Looking at our rankings, number 2 in the nation, following California, which is over 6 times our
Wow.
population. So it's a big accomplishment.
I was going to say this idea that Missouri ranks so high when it comes to new apprenticeships compared to other states, this all strikes me as a pretty well-kept secret. Is it?
I do. I think it is a well-kept secret and something that we need to speak more about it. And that's why we're appreciative of you highlighting this today. We know that apprenticeships traditionally people think about in the trades, right? The skilled labor, but apprenticeships now are virtually available for all industries. And so we have apprenticeships in healthcare and educational services and even technology.
I gather that the fact that Missouri ranks so high when it comes to these new apprenticeships, that suggests we have a long history in this area. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I do think we have a long history in apprenticeships, but I think, under Governor Parsons' lead, there's just a renewed effort to really build out our apprenticeship capacity in our state.
And when he talks about this, Kara, he's really sort of emphasizing that this is the road forward in the wake of COVID, in the wake of other economic downturns. Any sense of why he's so focused on this issue?
I think that apprenticeship provides an opportunity for individuals to get reskilled. And we know that broadly in the United States, we have a skills mismatch issue between the skills that our employers are looking for to the skills that are available in the workforce. And this allows us to skill up our workforce, and they're not losing anything. They're getting on the job training and getting paid while they do that. And through registered apprenticeship, they also come out with a nationally recognized credential. So it's ultimately a win-win model.
Interesting. When we talk about these apprenticeships in Missouri, what types of trades, what kinds of businesses are these apprentices connecting with here?
Yeah, I think they're in nearly every industry. So like I said before, healthcare is a big industry for apprenticeships right now. And you can imagine with the pandemic and all the stress that it has put on our healthcare infrastructure, we certainly need more workers in the healthcare fields. Technology is a big one. And looking at the future, our workforce is all going to be focused in technology. Even you and I in our jobs today, Steve, we rely on technology. So it's so important that we skill up Missourians to be able to thrive in these types of careers. And so in technology fields, apprentices can be trained in things like cybersecurity, which is so critical right now.
Yeah.
Things like software engineering, IT consultants. There's just such a wide spectrum of the type of pathways available for apprentices.
It's kind of interesting to me, Kara, that you're highlighting things that I absolutely know nothing about. So maybe I need an apprenticeship here.
Well, we have a program, see if you're interested in it.
Does one of these trades stand out as the most popular one for apprentices?
No, it's pretty across the board, honestly. A pretty diverse group of career paths. I know though in the technology front, this is something that we are really working on, especially when you look at things like cybersecurity. And we all saw those headlines over the summer where a meat processing facility got taken down by a ransomware attack, and it threatened the entire global food supply chain. And so, career pathways like cybersecurity are something that we really want to build up on the apprenticeship front.
What role is the State Chamber of Commerce playing in actively supporting these apprenticeships and these programs here in Missouri?
Yep, the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we play a kind of dual focus role in apprenticeships. First is through public policy. We are very strong advocates in the state capital in Jefferson City to expand the utilization of apprenticeship through policy changes. And then also on the programmatic side, we were awarded in 2020 a $6 million federal Department of Labor grant to expand tech-focused apprenticeships. And then coupled with our grant program, we actually have launched, it's called moapprenticeconnect.com, which is an online apprenticeship posting portal, and it's a matching service for apprenticeship seekers and employers. And we launched this portal actually in conjunction and partnership with Missouri's Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development.
And moapprenticeship.com, that simply helps connect people who might be interested in an apprenticeship with a potential opportunity out there, right?
Yep, absolutely. So it's moapprenticeconnect.com, and it allows apprentice seekers to post their resume or their interest on the portal, and then employers also can post their apprenticeship openings, and then essentially serves as a matching service. And right now on our website, we have apprenticeships in construction, manufacturing, and various professional services related areas. And it is a free service. So something you definitely want to take advantage of.
And I think I misspoke a second ago. You're saying the website is moapprentice.com.
Connect. It's moapprenticeconnect.com.
Okay, I'm going to get it on the third time here. moapprenticeconnect.com.
So yeah,
okay.
Say it 3 times and you'll get it.
Yeah, there you go. The Department of Labor grant, tell me a little more about that and how is progress on that grant shaking out here?
Yeah, there is very exciting news to report out of this grant. And it's called the Department of Labor Closing the Skills Gap Grant. The goal is to expand tech-focused apprenticeships. And we have a model that's unique in that it's employer-driven. And so we're working with Missouri's employer community to provide these apprenticeships. And the employer then gets some funding from our grant to help reinvest in their apprenticeship program. And then also the employers are providing significant matching dollars because, to build out an apprenticeship program is certainly an investment, but we think that it pays and yields and dividends on the back end when they have a skilled workforce.
This program, I think you said, Kara, is focused on technology. Why that focus? I know you've talked about the importance of technology here this morning, but why is the Federal Labor Department interested in that kind of emphasis?
They are interested because they see the data in the workforce right now too, and the job postings, and it's significant how many jobs now require, technology focus, and also looking at job projections. Technology and innovation is going to be a real economic driver in the future. And from the Missouri perspective, we actually launched the first iteration of our Tech 2030 report a few years ago. And that provided just research and data to show where Missouri stacks up in tech compared to other states. And the report really showed a bright future for Missouri and showed that Missouri is an emerging tech hub. So at the Missouri Chamber, we just wanted to make sure that we are building out a long-term tech talent pipeline to fill these jobs and hopefully secure our position as an emerging tech hub.
That's interesting to me because you wouldn't necessarily think of Missouri in terms of it becoming an emerging tech hub. Why Missouri? What's been going on in our state on that front?
Yeah, we have a lot of good things going on right now, Steve, in our state and in regards to tech. We actually just revised that report to look at kind of post-pandemic numbers and how do we stack up. And what our report that we're actually going to be publishing probably early next week showed that Missouri is a top 10 state for both diversity in our tech workforce and women in our tech workforce.
Huh.
And we're a top 10 state for current and expected job growth in tech manufacturing. And when I say tech manufacturing, this is the manufacturing of technology related components. So things like semiconductors and computer chips.
Well, I'm told we need a few more computer chips in this country right now when it comes to the automobile industry, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we actually already have some companies right here in Missouri, like Brewer Science and Rolla, which is manufacturing semiconductors and working to address that computer chip shortage.
Okay. Who are these apprentices who wind up in these programs? Can you describe them to us? Are there any commonalities that sort of stand out to you as you look at this group of people who emerges as wanting to become apprentices?
Yep. To date, our apprenticeship program has served 870 apprentices, and these apprentices are coming from all walks of life. We have some that are brand new to companies, and then they're also available for incumbent workers, meaning perhaps an employee wants to get reskilled or upskilled for a different job area. They can also utilize apprenticeship to get trained and to move over into that career pathway. And we have a variety of career pathways in our grant program, like cybersecurity, system engineers. And one thing that we are really proud to say is that we're building a diverse and inclusive tech workforce in our grant. 40% of the apprentices in our program are females, and roughly a third are people of color.
Boy, those strike me as outstanding statistics. We've done shows here in the past about the dearth of women in the tech industry, and you're saying some of that concern is being addressed right now.
Absolutely. And that's something when we found those rankings that Missouri ranks, a top 10 state for diversity in women in our tech workforce. We know this is a shining feature of Missouri, and it's something that we want to make sure to hold on and build out even further.
Given this heavy focus on apprentice programs here in Missouri, do you have any stats, Kara, that address the issue of whether these apprentices are sticking around the state to work here once they graduate from these programs?
So I don't have statistics right now from our program. That would probably be a long-term, evaluation after to see if they're sticking around. But anecdotally, yes, they're sticking around, and most of them end up being employed with the company that provided their apprenticeship. And with that, there's life-changing impacts. They get significant salary raises when they complete their apprenticeship. They get new job titles and job promotions. And so to date, through our program, we've had 220 individuals complete the apprenticeship and ultimately have a life-changing impact from it.
And again, that website that you mentioned a few minutes ago that I butchered so grandly, Missouri Apprentice Connect, right?
Yep, moapprenticeconnect.com.
Okay, that's the website to get to it. Well, that's the voice of Kara Corches. She's Director of Legislative Affairs for the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Kara, thanks so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Steve.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Up to Date on KCUR. We're talking about this idea, this reality, I guess, that Missouri has become a hotbed for new apprenticeships compared to any other state in the country. Interesting development. We're talking about how it works and how people can connect. We're joined now by Harold Burgos. He's a graduate of the apprenticeship program out at Cerner. Harold, nice to have you. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to be here, Steve.
Hey, how did you learn of this apprenticeship program out at Cerner?
Yeah, so Cerner actually came to my high school and did a PowerPoint regarding just Cerner scholarships and apprenticeships, and for those students that were interested in applying.
Why were you interested?
So I was already in a technical engineering career path within my high school. And so when they came into the class and kind of showed us like, hey, you're able to be on one-on-one and work on a real team and get actual, work environment experience, that to me was exciting.
Well, why does this kind of work appeal to you, Harold? What is it about it that really grabs you?
Yeah, I mean, to me, to make a difference, from a technology standpoint, personally, I'm really happy to help someone come up with an idea and bring that idea to life. That to me inspires me for the day of tomorrow, knowing that we can solve every day-to-day issues using technology in our favor.
What kind of technology work are you interested in? Where do you want to wind up?
Yeah, I mean, right now you see a lot of artificial intelligence. I think that's the day of tomorrow. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone wants to get the first look into that development. And I think to some point, everyone wants to know, what does day of tomorrow look like? You look at companies such as Tesla building AI robots now, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. How do you start? How does that get developed to begin with?
Should I be nervous about artificial intelligence, Harold, going forward?
I don't think so. I've seen a lot of iRobot movies and
Yeah,
whatnot, and you
maybe I've
get
seen
this
too
sense
many of
of,
those. Yeah, yeah. You think those are a little over the top, is what you're telling me.
I think most definitely Hollywood kind of strikes it like that.
But what did you like about your experience at Cerner and what you did there?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things that I like is you get put on a real team. You go right into the meetings. You learn about the team's goals. You learn, how do you connect with people? How do you work with engineers? One of the first things that I appreciated was just hyping up my soft skills. How to communicate well, how to be able to set plans and goals, and how to reach those goals in a successful manner.
Well, you were pretty young when you were doing this. How old were you?
I was, yes. So I was actually 18 when I started my high school apprenticeship, you would say. And so it was my senior year. Half the day I would go to school and complete classes, and the other half I would actually go to the Cerner campus and work with my team.
Well, that's kind of a weird existence every day, hanging out with high school kids for part of the day and then hanging out with engineers out at Cerner for the rest of the day.
It is. It is a different combination. It's not your typical high school or senior year experience, you would say, right? But overall, I mean, it worked out great. The school and Cerner, they worked out all types of transportation and anything that I needed to be on with in regards to meeting. They were all very flexible and great to work with, and just make sure that I had everything I needed to be successful.
When you walked in on the first day, was that a little intimidating?
It was. I mean, you kind of go into the gates of Cerner and you're like, whoa, this is a cool campus. It's huge, and you feel like the grass is greener on this side, right?
So what did you learn during your apprenticeship, Harold? Where did it get you?
Yeah, so on the team I started was a bedside clinical care team. So I learned about some of the products that Cerner did. At that time, that team focused on what it was called the patient's vital chart. So your blood pressure, temperature, stuff like that. And then I transferred on to an HR technical team. And I think what I really took away from the team was how to collaborate with engineers, right? What's the basis of coding? How do you set a goal, and how do you work together with your team to achieve that goal? We're all trying to fit a puzzle together to solve an issue. And I think that was the most important takeaway for me.
This is a team sport, is what you're saying.
Most definitely, most definitely. I think in every area of your life, there is some team sportship, right? That you need to be able to collaborate, communicate with people, and just make sure you're on the right path, right?
You were saying you had to learn some soft skills to sort of navigate some of this. Do you think that part of the whole idea of going out into the work world gets overlooked? This idea of just what we're talking about here, that you're going to go out and you're going to work on a team. This is not Harold Burgos just going out on his own and figuring out artificial intelligence. You're going to be working with a whole lot of other people.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. I think as a high schooler at that point in my life, right? I feel like I knew how to communicate, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I was a little shy, and maybe I didn't write my emails as professionally as maybe I could back then. But you get a sense of, once you step into this environment, people are willing to work with you. They're willing to show you. They have a mentor with you, right? You're not alone in this world of professional engineers and professional people. You're actually given one-on-one time. They walk you through it. They do everything they need in order to catch you up to date, and they actually help you with your strengths. And if there's any weaknesses, they empower those to become your strengths. And so I believe when you transition from what a high schooler going to college, then becoming a full-time employee, maybe you don't have those specific scenarios that can help back that up.
How patient were they with the high school kid coming in the door every day?
Oh, very, very patient. I mean, I got my own cube assignment. My mentor and I would have time in the morning to connect and talk about our goals. And, I actually had one-on-one time with an actual manager that I have who was different from my mentor, and just making sure like, hey, do you need anything? Is there anything you need to complete? Do we need to go over some coding structures that, maybe you're having issues with? And you have that one-on-one singular time that on campus training that really helps you.
Which of the Cerner campuses were you on, Harold?
Yep. So I started at Realization, which is down in South KC. And
Oh, yeah.
then once I started my college apprenticeship that actually followed me through college, I transferred to the North Kansas City campus right across North Kansas City Hospital.
So you graduate from high school and then you went to college where?
Yep. I went to college to MCC,
Right.
Metropolitan Community College. I went a little bit everywhere. Took some classes at Longview, took some classes at Penn Valley, and also Maplewood. So I was all over the place, but
Hmm.
overall, just in KC, right?
And you're saying that you remained in the apprenticeship program the entire time?
Yes, that is correct, sir. So I started my what they would call like Cerner Scholar Apprenticeship, right? That was high school based, and then I moved on to follow it through college. Since I wanted to stay local and work local, they're like, "Hey, do you want to come on board and interview for this?" And I most definitely caught the opportunity. And so I interviewed. Everything went well, and I started off on a new team. And same deal, just trying to catch up to date, learn what their goals is, learn how what motivates them, and how to collaborate with others. And then everything has been jolly since then.
I was going to say, staying with this program through high school and into college strikes me as a lot different than sort of these one and done. You do an apprenticeship for a day or a week or maybe even a month, but you're saying this is a whole different kind of situation.
Oh yeah, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, as you're going to college and as you're attending your classes and learning, at least in my degree, right, computer science, you're learning what you're applying at work. And so the cool thing is that you can always relate school to work and work to school. And to your point, you get to know people, right? You get to know their kids, their dogs, and pictures of them and what people are doing over the weekend. So it's
Hmm.
definitely a very, very different environment from what I've heard.
Are you working at Cerner now?
I am, yes, I am a full-time worker.
So this whole thing, you parlayed this experience into a full-time job very early in your career then.
Yeah, most definitely. So I graduated with associates in computer science, and Cerner does this 1 year of experience with them counts as 1 year of school. And so I was able to graduate with my associates, but have an equivalency of a bachelor's degree and
Wow.
come on full time.
And what's your job at Cerner now? What are you working on, Harold?
Yep. So I am a database and application developer too. So and today I work with HR app systems. So anything that the business needs in order to run the business, I would say, I develop. Is there any issues, anything we need to create a solution for? I am your contact to go to.
How challenging of a job is this?
You know, I believe there's definitely a technical aspect to it, right? You need to have some foundations in the technical world. But the great thing is that since I had that work on training and backed up by my educational career, that really helped me come in at a very good pace, I would say. And kind of just, when I transitioned to full time, I remained on the same team. So it was pretty easy to just like, okay, well, now I'm doing this from 20 hours a
Wow.
week to 40 hours a week, right?
Well, Harold, you must have impressed them. You must have done a pretty good job for them to have them hang on to you the way they have.
Well, I hope so. I like to believe it.
Yeah. Well, it's got to feel pretty good for you to be as young as you are and have a job at a great company like Cerner.
It does. I mean, it feels great. I like to say that, if it wasn't for these programs, I wouldn't be where I am today, honestly. I'm really happy for the career choice I did. I'm really happy I chose the career type I did. And I'm not sure if I would be here today if it wasn't for those
I
opportunities.
was going to say, if you met with high school students today, I'm hearing you say that you would tell them maybe to consider some of the same choices that you made to get you where you are today.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, so Cerner actively, we reach out back to our community. So I've actually done some PowerPoint presentations to make kids aware, everything from third grade to fifth graders to make them aware like, hey, Cerner's in our backyard. If you guys like what we do or you guys are interested in tech, I want you to take that as an opportunity, right? When I was in third or fifth grade, we didn't get that much exposure. But in today's world, we want to get students, exposure to technology and different career paths at a very young age so they can start thinking about that long term.
How do high school students regard apprenticeships? I mean, does it have an image that kids either find to be cool or not cool, or they're not sure what it is? I mean, what's the hurdle that programs like this have to get over with high school kids to get them to engage in these kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of kids and their reactions when I go do these presentations is, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't have no idea there's such a program like this. They just don't know. And because they don't know these kinds of apprenticeship exists, they're kind of shy. They're like, no, I don't really want to get into it, or I'm really shy. And what I tell them is, research, right? Do your research, give it the opportunity, like I know, kids at that age are very nervous at that point, but right. I would say if they're aware of it and if can educators get them aware of these type of opportunities, more benefit to them.
I was going to say, you're asking these kids to sort of walk away from high school for half their days to go off to a company like Cerner. And for some kids, that's cool. And for some kids, I imagine that's kind of difficult.
Yeah, no, and it was difficult for me as well. I mean, again, I was very nervous the first day. I came in with little to no experience, to be quite frank. I had very little knowledge within technology. To be quite honest, I didn't even know the basics of coding, but that didn't matter. They took me in, they followed me through their career path, their planning, and they have great sessions and just an overall criteria of what we're going to do every day. And I say, even if you don't feel like or if you're prepared, I mean, honestly, you're never going to be prepared for anything in life. Right. I think you just got to go for it.
Well, Harold, I'm really impressed with your story, and congratulations on the success you're having out at Cerner. That's Harold Burgos. Again, he's a graduate of the apprenticeship program at Cerner, now a full-time employee out there. Harold, best of luck out there, and we'll be pulling for you, okay?
Perfect. Thank you, Steve. Have a good one.
You bet. After a short break, we're going to come back and talk about that controversy over live streaming Shawnee Mission School Board meetings. I'm Steve Kraske, and you're listening to Up to Date on KCUR 89.3. We'll be right back.